Hey, this is Matt once again. What about you in the video? This is another paid request for Mr. Blockworld. He actually had two requests, which I'll get to. Uh, for those interested in requesting any type of reviews, it doesn't even have to be reviews. It could be a topic, it could be a random piece of randomness, a reaction, a commentary, talking about an article, talking about some movie article, anything in between. Feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And one of the two requests was Mr. Blockworld wanted me to talk about the story that apparently is going to be Quentin Tarantino's last film. Really, all the information this says is, I'll read it. Quentin Tarantino is back for the last time. Filmmaker behind some of the most indelible movies of the past 3 decades, Pulp Fiction, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood among them, is putting together what sources say is being billed as his final movie. The Movie Critic is the name of it. Tarantino wrote and is prepping to direct this fall, according to sources. Logline details are being kept in a suitcase, but sources describe the story as being set in the late 1970s Los Angeles with a female lead at its center. Now, this person says it's possible the story focuses on Pauline Kael, one of the most influential movie critics of all time, who passed away in 2001. Was not just a critic, but also a novelist. She was known for her pugnacious fights with the editors as well as filmmakers. In the late 1970s, Kael had a very brief tenure working as a consultant for Paramount, a position she accepted at the behest of actor Warren Beatty. The timing of that Paramount job seems to coincide with the setting of the script, and the filmmaker is known to have a deep respect for Kael, making the odds of her being the subject of the film more likely. The project does not have a studio home. It could go out to studios or buyers or as early as this week. One frontrunner could be Sony, where Tarantino has a tight relationship with Tom Rothman. Sony distributed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the filmmaker's 2019 opus on 1960s movie making. Also gave him a unique deal in which the copyright reversed to him over time. The movie also won 2 Oscars after nabbing 10 nominations and grossed over $377 million worldwide. So, The Movie Critic. I mean, would it be worth a watch? I would be curious because I am a Quentin Tarantino fan. I haven't read his book. I don't have his book that he wrote a lot of, I guess, reviews of 70s movies. I don't always agree with him, just like everybody. I don't always agree with anybody or everybody. But, I mean, I'd be curious to maybe read the book one day. With that said, I liked a lot of his movies. I really enjoyed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I thought that was a very solid film with a great cast. I like Pulp Fiction. I like Jackie Brown, Kill Bill films, among others. I love his writing and From Dusk Till Dawn. I mean, if that's his last film, it'd be a bit disappointing because, like, his last film will be a biography of someone or a biography drama. Just doesn't feel as satisfying of a punch to end your career compared to you're starting off with Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, and you look at stuff in Kill Bill and but who's to say if it is that? This guy's just assuming. It could be the movie critic. It could be someone that, I don't know. If you don't like his movie, he'll shoot you. Or if you don't like his review, he'll kick your ass. I don't know. Maybe be like a serious version. Remember Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? Look at all the reviews and who out here wants to kick some ass? I mean, who knows what the story will actually be? I think for him the interest is take place in the 1970s and do what he did for the 60s, do for the 70s, because that is his favorite decade. And he's talked about how that's one thing I don't agree with Tarantino on. I mean, he says nowadays is the worst era of films, which I don't. He's right. But then he said before that it was the 80s and the 50s. I don't know why the fuck you would think the 80s is one of the worst decades for films. But I mean, I guess since he's a gun-ho fan of the 70s, and he feels the 70s, I guess the 80s are the antithesis of the 70s. But That's what I mean. Like, anyone who says the 80s is one of the worst decades for movies, we definitely don't see eye to eye at all. Which is ironic because I liked a lot of his movies. So with that said, because he doesn't like the era of movies nowadays, and I mean, if he wrote a book about 70s films, he wants to make a movie that would fit in the 70s. And since that's his era he loves the most, that's, I think, what him and his love of movies, okay, a movie critic at that time, it might be just a love letter to movies of that decade. So maybe if that might be his more personal project, this is how he views movies. This is why he likes movies of that era. This is why he likes movies of that timeline. I mean, if he wrote a book about 70s films, and then that'd be one of his favorite eras, and like I said, not liking the era today, maybe that's why he wants to make that his last film, to make his final stamp on. This is why this era is precious to me. This, I mean, it'd be like me making one on the 80s. Why I love it, why it's precious to me, and have it be in the a movie critic main character. Again, this article is suggesting it's Pauline Kael. That doesn't mean that's what it is. It could easily be just any critic, a new character. It's more about a guy like how maybe Tarantino himself would be in the 70s, watching these movies, critiquing the highs and lows, the ups and downs, and being sort of maybe reflecting on an era that's long lost, and maybe for him never see again, with these type of projects and these type of plots and these type of characters, and missing those days, but in the frame of this critic at the time. Kind of like what, this may sound strange, but like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You had the person in that who was an author who misses the times of old and is not really sure about the future and where we're going. Kind of that reflective state, but hopefully in an entertaining way. I mean, it's Tarantino. Of the directors of this era, I will still be curious as to who he casts. And if this is his final film, you know there's going to be a lot of people trying to jump in to be at least in one more Tarantino movie. But who knows? I mean, they say it's going to get made, but as the next request, there's a lot of projects he said was going to make that never came to be. So until he's actually filming it, for all I know, in the next month or so, this will be abandoned. He'll look at another project. So, but I'm curious about it, just because I do like a lot of the guy's projects and films, and we'll see what happens. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Mr. Blockworld, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.